I'm Lisa Christensen, and it's almost Christmas Eve. Maybe you're going to church. Maybe you're going to go to church for the first time in a long time. Well, all the churches throughout Vancouver are getting ready, and we're going to look at some of them, talk to the ministers and pastors, and find out what goes in to inviting everyone over for Christmas Eve. Our first stop is St. James Anglican Church at Cordova and Gore in the downtown east side. This magnificent building is an Anglo-Catholic parish and serves needs both spiritual as well as physical. We meet up with Mother Amanda Rustin. You're busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're busy all year, but what's Christmas like here?
Christmas everywhere, of course, but especially at St. James is a really beautiful, magical time. So Christmas Eve, we do the midnight mass in this place that doesn't have a whole lot of that. Where we're situated in this neighborhood provides a sanctuary, something to give us a little bit of hope in this darkness. It might be the only place of beauty and peace that they have in their lives, and so we're really conscious of that. The darkness and suffering of the world, that's very real. What we're saying is God doesn't leave us in that darkness and suffering. God chooses to come amongst us as a human and experience the suffering with us.
Next, it's on to the Danish Lutheran Church of Vancouver, located in Burnaby, where Pastor Carson Vilgo-Hansen leads a congregation inside a unique sanctuary he refers to as a ship. It's built facing east, like most Danish churches. Downstairs, we could hear the choir practicing for Christmas Eve.
We don't have all those ornaments as they do in Catholic churches because more emphasis is put on the word.
So that means a lot more work for you.
Yes, thanks for noticing. I want, of course, my sermon to be current. I wanted to talk into the reality we're living in right now. So much things and changes are going on, and we can't really predict the future. And Leonard Cohen, for instance, in one of his songs, Anthem, he says, there's a crack in everything, that's how the lights get in. And there should be a crack in a sermon as well, I think. Not just Christmas Eve, but any sermon. One of the best services I ever had was a Christmas Eve, actually. My organist didn't give me the usual response. You know, I say, the Lord be with you. And then the organ replies, and with you, together with the congregation. And it was my organist's sixth service that Christmas. So he was almost asleep up there. So I had to wake him up. And everyone was laughing. And then everyone participated in the biggest response I ever had. And after that, that was the crack of that service, right? Everyone could share the love and harmony of what a Christmas service really should be all about.
We then head to the corner of 49th and Oak to visit Vancouver Unitarians. The campus was designed by member and architect Wolfgang Gerson in the 1960s and feels both warm yet modern, much like the different way Christmas Eve is celebrated here. We meet with settled minister Reverend Sean Gauthier. So tell me what Christmas is like here at this church.
As Unitarians, we come from it at a bit of a different angle. What we celebrate on Christmas Eve is a bit more of the cultural Christmas, which Unitarians have had a big part in shaping, from introducing Christmas trees to North America, to attitudes around charity and generosity at Christmas time. So those are more what the emphasis will be. For us, we come to it more as a story not of literal truth, but of one of really metaphorical meaning that we can mine and come up with different ways of understanding ourselves and the world around us. About 90% of our congregation comes from different traditions, many of them Christian, but many of them not. And so it makes it a little bit complicated to figure out what to say on any given Sunday, or certainly on Christmas Eve. But certainly think about the wider world that we're living in and the anxiety I think people are carrying these days about where things are headed. Many in our congregation are not particularly, don't believe in a God sort of pulling the strings and orchestrating what happens. We believe very much that we're a religion based in the here and now. And so we believe what we do with our lives while we are on this earth is of utmost importance. While we don't believe Jesus is God, we believe Jesus was an extraordinary human being, and we think that all of us have the potential to be makers of peace in the world.
And then it's further west to the Canadian Memorial United Church, built in 1928 to honor those who served in World War I. It's also located with a peace center next door. And there we meet coordinating minister Jeff Rock. Tell us a bit more about the United Church and Christmas.
So the United Church of Canada was founded in 1925 when, for the first time in world history, denominations came together and united, hence why it's called the United Church. So they opened up food banks and homeless shelters. We consider ourselves a very progressive congregation. My colleague in ministry is an interfaith Buddhist. There's people that are members of our congregation all across the spectrum, and we really see this as a community church that brings people together in that hope and prayer for peace in our world.
Now, as much as we talk about, like progressiveness and things, Christmas Eve, very traditional. Tell me about Christmas Eve here at the church.
I think what all of us really want on Christmas Eve is that feeling of tradition and those rituals that are like fence posts along the journey of our lives. I think it's incumbent on us to reach out across the lines of difference if we have different backgrounds and beliefs and be together and work together. To me, that's what being a united church is all about, where even people who are struggling get the hand up that they need, where we work for peace and live in the hope that better is always possible.
The streets in Vancouver on Christmas Eve are usually very quiet and often cold and wet. But these 4 churches have told us that they're ready to welcome everyone inside for some warmth and light. And while they may offer different perspectives on what Christmas means, one message remained consistent. Each offers hope for anyone experiencing a challenging time. So, not to make you have to give a sneak peek, but the overall message you want people to feel this Christmas Eve.
I'm thinking about the message of peace in these times when there's conflict so prevalent in the world. And I'm thinking about the story that will have happened 110 years ago this Christmas Eve of the truce in World War I of the soldiers coming out and singing Silent Night, and thinking about if peace was possible for even a fleeting moment in that kind of circumstance, why can't we do it elsewhere?
I hope they take away from their experience here that they are loved. That they are loved by a God who made them, that they are loved by the community they came into, that they are precious and that they are valuable and that they're loved.
If you were to give everyone a message for this Christmas Eve, to leave everyone with, what would it be?
Oh, fear not. We might feel everything is out of control as well, with COVID, with wars, with climate, with whatever. Not all change is good, but change leads somewhere. And it is a necessity in our world. Time is change, and we live in time, at least until eternity.
At its very core, the Christmas story is about welcome and inclusion. In a world at war, we can find a moment of peace sometimes. When we're dealing with deep sorrow and grief, the joy will come through. But most of all, the most important thing at Christmas time is love.